Good evening, Tallahassee. Welcome back to your Thursday night edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Chris Malve. We're taking a live look at Doak Campbell Stadium. We got some lovely sunny skies overhead, 74 degrees with just a slight breeze. We've seen pretty similar conditions all around the Big Bend region. Here in Tallahassee, we're actually at 72 now. Same thing goes over in Quincy. A little bit cooler down to the coast, though, 63 in Apalachicola with that slight little sea breeze effect on the radar. Crystal clear right now, just lovely skies right now as we have that high pressure sitting over us, and because of that, we're going to have the chance to cool down quite a bit tonight. 42 is what we're forecasting for tonight, so definitely if you're going out tonight, make sure to bundle up a little bit. But for tonight's weather headlines, we're going to be talking about the next weather maker that's going to be headed into the Big Bend region this Sunday. We're going to be talking about that warming trend that is on the way, as well as our Thursday sportscast. All this and more on FSU Weather.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Matthew Wisnett, and as you can see right now in Tallahassee, we do have those low 70s as we close out the afternoon and get into your evening hours. Across the Big Bend region, we're sitting in those low to mid 70s at Valdosta, much cooler in those low 60s, and even Apalachicola near the coast, much cooler in those lower 60s as well. Radar-wise, we're looking very clear, not a lot of clouds in sight, which is making for a very beautiful sunset tonight. Now, as we go through the next 12 hours, you'll see over the next 2 hours, we will drop about 10 degrees into those 60s. So if you are going to be outside tonight, maybe coming back from the women's basketball game, make sure to have a jacket. And if you are going out tonight on this Thursday night, make sure to bundle up, as could be a very cold one as we'll get into those 40s during those overnight hours. Now, future radar, as we go through Friday, we might see a couple of clouds and maybe a sprinkle or two out by Sumtra and Apalachicola, but overall going to be a very pleasant day to be outside across Tallahassee on this Friday and even getting into Saturday. Maybe a couple of clouds near the coast, but overall going to be a very pleasant Valentine's Day. Great time to start your Valentine's Day if you're going out for maybe that early morning run. Now tonight we'll be in those low 40s, very clear outside, not a lot of wind, so that will allow us to cool down much cooler than we have been the past few days in those lower 40s. Across the region, many areas sitting in those 40s, down by the coast, sitting in those upper 40s. That sea breeze is going to keep them just a little bit cooler overall, though still going to be a very cold night if you are going to be outside. Now for the day planner tomorrow, if you're getting out early, it may need a bundle up if you're trying to get that early jog in. But by noon, we're sitting in those upper 60s, so going to be a very good time to just be outside. A lot of sunshine, so you might need some sunblock here or there. Don't want to have a sunburn this early in the weekend. Now, rain chance wise, we're going to be watching Sunday. That is our big rainmaker. Could see a lot of widespread rain across the area overall, as it's just going to be a very washout of a Sunday. Now, Saturday, going to be very pleasant to be outside. If you're going to the baseball game, should be a very fun time. But Sunday is when we could see a little bit of a drop off in the temperatures into those upper 60s with a lot of widespread rain. So going to be a very rainy end to the weekend. But by the time we start the work week next week, look at this, 72 and 74, even maybe 77 by mid next week. So going to be a very warm week with our lows even rebounding into those lower 60s. But I'm going to pass off to Chris to see how the rest of the state of Florida is, whether it's warm or cold.
Yeah, I'm taking a look around the state. Panama City Beach, our cool spot right now at 67 degrees. Still got that lovely sunset over there, and really all across the state looking absolutely gorgeous. My hometown of Tampa, Florida, you're at 72 right now. But taking a look all around the state, kind of seeing those somewhat more mild temperatures. We're finally getting back into those lower 70s. These past couple weeks we were quite cooler with those several rounds of Arctic blasts, and now we're kind of starting to rebound into those more spring-like temperatures. A little bit cooler though over in Jacksonville, 57 degrees there, and also for our friends in Orlando, we're kind of dealing with those hit or miss showers. And let's kind of take a look at some of those showers. But here in parts of southern Florida, here near Clusa, we do have some scattered showers moving towards the southeast, kind of racing towards Alligator Alley. Now looking more towards the north, we do have a couple of storms just kind of really scraping by Leesburg, headed into the Orlando metro. So if you're there or if you're commuting from home, definitely have an umbrella on hand. But now as we kind of time out these next couple of hours, just a few scattered showers on the peninsula, and we're going to have those clouds begin to move in. But notice this Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Check this out. Here is our next cold front that's going to be moving in. That's going to bring a lot of rain and possibly some stronger showers and storms into the panhandle. Now, some of our parts of the state might not get as much rain, but still we could definitely use it with this extreme drought that we've been kind of stuck in these last couple of months. But for tonight in the state of Florida, we're going to be at 50 in Pensacola, pretty mild conditions, but we do have some much cooler air sitting over the panhandle, 43 in Tallahassee, 44 for the Gators over in Gainesville. Now, for tomorrow, we're going to kind of see that warming trend continue. Some of us even reaching the mid to upper 80s, 76 in Tampa, 78 Orlando, and even hitting 80 degrees in Miami. So definitely a bit of a warmer day in store. And speaking of Miami, here's what you can expect over the next couple days. That warming trend continues. By Monday, we'll reach 80. So definitely a much warmer day. So you can kind of take off some of those extra layers. This perfect shorts and t-shirt weather, if you ask me at least. Tampa, Florida, pretty similar, reaching the 80s for the first time in a while, it feels like. Saturday into Sunday, plenty of sunshine to go around, but keep an eye out on Monday. There is a chance for some scattered showers, storms. Same thing goes over in Orlando, about 40% coverage there for some rain. Over in Pensacola, unfortunately looking like a bit of a washout on Sunday, so definitely that will cause some problems for your Sunday plans, but make sure to just keep an umbrella on hand. But Matt, can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on around the southeast?
Yeah, so as we've already seen, Tampa looking very nice in our far left corner. Birmingham looking very nice as we do have the sun sitting. Now, New Orleans, a little bit hazier than the rest of the areas right now. Now, a lot of warm temperatures. We're seeing 69 in New Orleans, 70 Jackson, 72 here in Tallahassee. So even though Florida's warm, the rest of the southeast is getting in on it as well. Meanwhile, some of the northern areas, a little bit on the cooler side right now with Nashville at 52. Radar-wise, not a lot to talk about. Very clear to be out and around the southeast as you make your drive home from work tonight. Now, drought-wise, we have been in a pretty severe drought in some areas. Extreme drought here in Tallahassee and across the northern portion of Florida. Out on the west side of Memphis, we are also seeing some heavy drought areas. So hopefully this weekend we'll see a little bit of rain that might help with that for some areas. As we'll see by Saturday, this front slowly starts moving its way through, and by 2 o'clock on Sunday, we could see some heavy rain in some areas. Raleigh as well, seeing widespread rain going all the way down into eastern and northern Georgia. Could see some rain as well. So some rain for some areas that really need it, but overall, got to be just that one day of rain, unfortunately, that's going to give us just maybe a couple inches, which would be very nice, but not enough to break the drought. Now, tonight's forecast, New Orleans sitting a little bit warmer than everyone else, while Montgomery and Nashville sitting in those 30s. So going to be a much cooler affair for some states. Meanwhile, some of the ones near the coast got to be a little bit on the warmer side because of that. Now, tomorrow's forecast will be sitting in those 70s across much of the southeast. Meanwhile, Nashville, as well as Atlanta, on the little bit of a cooler side in those 60s. So going to be, once again, very pleasant day to be outside. As you're closer to Florida, farther away you get might be a little bit cooler. Charlotte, much colder than us. We'll see those 50s and 60s persist before that rain arrives to really wash out your Sunday. Now, for New Orleans, a little bit on the foggier side of things for the next 2 days. But look at this, still in those lower 70s. So still going to be a great time to be outside with that rain really coming in on Sunday. And then Nashville, still much cooler than everyone else with those 50s for Sunday. A little bit of that washout on Sunday. Moving into Monday, we'll see those 60s start returning to the forecast. But I'm going to turn over to Chris with our Thursday sports.
That's right, and I am so pumped about this week's Sportscast. We have so much going on in the world of sports. We have the Olympics going on. FSU's baseball is back tomorrow. I'm so ready for that, but we're going to start with some Thursday night basketball. We got the Bucks taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. In Oklahoma City, I would call this a slam dunk forecast. We got plenty of sunshine, and we're going to cool off to around 57 by the end of the game, so maybe you could use maybe a light jacket by the end of the game, but a lovely forecast for that game. Taking a look at our next game, Portland Trail Blazers at Utah Jazz. A bit on the cooler side of things. Going to be pretty overcast, but shouldn't cause too many issues if you're trying to head to that game tonight. But again, it will be a bit cooler. About 40 degrees is what we're forecasting tonight. The Mavs are playing the Lakers tonight as well. It's going to be 62 And by the end of the game, we're going to cool down to 57. Not a huge temperature range, but again, if you're maybe a little bit more sensitive to the cooler weather, might want a light jacket. But here's what I'm super excited about. FSU baseball, we are so back. At the first pitch, it's going to be 62 degrees with plenty of clear skies to go around. By the end of the game, we'll be cooling down to about 50. But overall, just absolutely lovely weather to kick off baseball season. And now we're going to take a look at a very intense top 25 ACC matchup. We got Clemson taking on Duke on Saturday. Going to be a little bit chilly, but still just a few clouds to go around, but still mostly sunshine to go if you're going to be in Durham, North Carolina. Could be reaching 60 by the end of the game. Definitely will be one I will be watching on Saturday. FSU is going to be also taking on Virginia Tech. This is an away game for us, but I still have faith that the guys can pull another win and hopefully make a run in the ACC men's tournament as we're kind of looking towards that in the future, but still another lovely game this weekend. But now, if you're not lucky enough to go to that game this weekend, what can you do in Tallahassee this weekend, Matt?
Yeah, it's going to be very nice, at least for the first half of this weekend. But look at these beautiful sunsets. Panama City looking very nice. The Sportsplex, a lot of different color hues out there as we have a really great sunset tonight. If you're trying to get out to the pickleball courts, you're going to see going to be a really nice start around that 6 o'clock margin where we're at that 70 degrees. But as we get later into the night, going to be much cooler. Might need that jacket as things start chilling down a little bit. And if you stay out really late tonight, out maybe having dinner with somebody around 9 or 10, definitely going to want that jacket as by 1 a.m. we'll see those 40s arrive to the area, so a much cooler event in store. Getting out tomorrow morning to walk the dog, make sure to have a jacket as it's going to be very cold to start in those 40s. But by the time we get closer to noon, we could see those 60s return. Now for the pool forecast, it'll be pretty nice to be outside temperature-wise, but remember, the water is going to be much colder than the rest of the air, so maybe a good day to just sit by the pool. I wouldn't be somebody who'd be going in right now unless maybe you're from up north, and this is a pretty warm waters, I should say. Now, airport delays, we're not seeing any here in Tallahassee, but as we go across the rest of the country, overall, pretty clean if you're trying to fly out tomorrow for maybe going back home or seeing some friends across the country. Now, next 4 days, we're going to see that rain really on Sunday, but look at this to start your Valentine's Day. 75 degrees with lows in those 40s, and then by Monday, we'll see the 70s return. Now, one last look at your 7-day forecast. We'll see that rain on Sunday before the 70s return to start your work week next week. Have a great night.